Dean for the Middle East, and we are very proud of our partnership with British University of Dubai. So I'm very much looking forward to chairing the session and hearing some of the research that you're doing here. Our first presenter, we're running 5 minutes late to let everybody get back from lunch, is Alya Harbi.
I like to move. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Alya Harbi, a student in a British University. I had my master in IT management and my bachelor degree as a health information management. I work in the Ministry of Health of United Arab Emirates. And today I would like to talk about the future of software engineering in healthcare, visions of 2025. So, it's not working. So the introduction is, now there is the rapidly fast growing of the population would lead to challenges in quality of care. The amount of patients that we are receiving is getting increased. The disease, as reported by WHO, it's getting really high. Like 90% of the mortality that we have, it's because of some lifestyle diseases, and 30 of these actually percent is due to the cardiovascular diseases. And most of the patient is found in disparate systems across all the healthcare community in UAE. So a patient can have a medical record in a private sector and a private hospital, and he can as well have his another medical record in the public sector. And these medical records are actually multiple and duplicating all over UAE. So, and one of the recent studies showed that the burden of the disease is getting really high. Currently now we spend like $36 billion on the diseases to manage, and it is expected to increase to $68 billion by the year 2022. So in order to manage that, we would really need a new research, new technology evolution, such as big data, system of systems, and Internet of Things to give a promising chance to overcome healthcare challenges by the year of 2020. So the current situation. Let us talk to the journey of what is her called Zahra Muhammad. Zahra have lived in Sharjah and Dubai now and in Abu Dhabi. And she visited Dubai Hospital, Dubai American Hospital. She got married in 2011 now, and she had a medical record in Cornish Hospital. Cornish Hospital is for maternity hospital. She had a fairly healthy but doesn't have a chronic condition, and she had visited plus 30 healthcare facilities over life. So, taking this scenario into consideration, we can notice that people reside in different cities and visit different hospitals, multiple medical records across all the different hospitals, no health data sharing, and trending hospital have to contact individual hospital for past records, loss of time, cost, quality for patients and physicians and healthcare facilities, resulting in lack of integration, lack of efficiencies, repetitive orders, because I don't share my lab result from this hospital, so I need to repeat the orders, as well loss of financials, as I mentioned before, and no unified health medical record. So the objective is, what if we have one patient, one record across all the United Arab Emirates? To evaluate the state of art, which we think, to overcome these problems, we would like to have a UAE unified medical record. So if I am going to Dubai or I am going to Abu Dhabi Hospital, I will be having the same medical record. So, and the following concept will be addressed in this, descriptive of the state of art and the state of practice to this software engineering concept that is might take place in 2025. Major challenges to this initiatives, visionary idea to overcome these challenges. So the methodology was basic, systematic research of a published literature. It was a qualitative measurement, publication required by health authorities, government agencies, and local hospitals. The state of art, as I stated before in my introduction, that people live in different cities and people may end up having multiple records. Health data sharing is not properly in place and rarely exists. And current treating hospital has to contact individual hospital to seek any past record. So the process of obtaining historical data is really a burden. It's not an easy, like we're not keeping up to the date with the technology. All these result in loss of major elements such as time, cost, and quality. So examining the state of art, so we thought about having like a unified medical record. So there are many approaches in order to go to this solution. There is a centralized repository, and there's a distributed database, hybrid, switch, patient managed, and cloud. And if you can see, the centralized repository is a multiple independent enterprise agree to share resources using a central data repository. So if we are having all the data to be in one place. However, there are some certain disadvantages for that, and we will go through them in the next slide. There is a consistent for distributed database, consistent database, multiple independent enterprise agree to connect and share specific information managed centrally, but with independent repositories. We have inconsistent database, like multiple independent enterprises agree to connect and share. So if you can see, this is there is a multiple inconsistent databases as well as a consistent database. We have the hybrid, which is a combination of decentralized and a centralized database. We have the switch, where we don't save the data in one place. Instead, we just exchange the data through the switches. Patient manage, which is carries their own electronic or subscribe to a service that enables the patient to directly exchange of the data, like personal health record and health record bank. We have the cloud, which is data management in a cloud with an open API and standard interface. So the possible challenges, so we examining this case scenario in order to apply it here in United Arab Emirates. However, we found out that centralized repository can be very costly and might lead to duplicate records if not structured well. So it is a little bit of a complex, and actually we have a problem of data ownership because all the data is saved in one place and there is a conflict of the data ownership. Like some of the hospital might have an issue that to save everything in one place. So distributed database can be, this is the second approach, very costly and complex to maintain as well. The hybrid architecture, it can be costly and need more players on board with less bargaining power from strong leadership compared to the consolidated. Switch architecture is very complex to implement, but its main drawback is that we cannot manage complex data in multiple formats, as which the reporting, when I want to have like a reporting of only the UAE, it might be difficult. Patient-managed architecture relies on the patient input and can be largely disappearing or converted into patient financial tools. Cloud need only internet connectivity. So for our solution, we thought, okay, examining all of that, hybrid architecture might be the way to go for a specific reason. It tends to help to provide statistical measuring and help and indicators that would improve the strategy of healthcare in UAE, and it's more flexible to implement. So if you can notice, this is the, with hybrid architecture, we have the concept of system of systems, which is the SOS. So you can see that if we have like multiple, it's a hybrid of centralized and decentralized method, and we can have this architecture built and then build over it a business intelligent analytical dashboard. Every country in the world to report to WHO, World Health Organization, for their healthcare indicators. Having this in in place will make it very easy for UAE to report their core indicators, like what is the health status in UAE, because we will be having the transparency of all the information across all the United Arab Emirates, and the business intelligence over it would be much easier. However, possible challenges of this proposed unified medical record solution to overcome is the lack of control over system functionality and performance. So, as a solution, we would like to have system of systems to be designed as a node and web architecture, and system vulnerabilities must be understood and managed carefully. Secondly, we have a lack of support from system owner. Hence, we need an agreement. We need to take all the stakeholders on board with us. We need to have collaboration incentives. Stakeholder management is very important for a huge project. That's why we need to do some agreement and relationship to have them in the government project management team. We have a shortage of data scientists and analytics talents at least through 2020. Studies show that there will be a really shortage in providing the scientists that we need. So, educational institute to build the foundation, we need to encourage, we need to start from now. IT analytics, IT scientists, data mining are really in shortage. It is anticipated the demand will be huge on them, and there are no scientists in the future for this, as according to one of the studies. So we need to build this foundation to overcome and address this issue. Okay, and health authority participation, governing committee must establish and contractual relationship among stakeholders is needed. Privacy and confidentiality is very important. That's why we need HIPAA compliance, which is like a standardization for privacy and confidentiality in healthcare. So we need as well data availability and equality of data and study in order to overcome this and to address the data compliance. We need to understand the data set that we have, and we need to, it must be considered. And there are some certain interoperability standards that need to be addressed for this project, such as HL7, which is known for health project interoperability project. So, as you can see, this is just in a nutshell what I am doing with how I am actually seeing the future in electronic medical record and in healthcare fields, and that we actually see that United Arab Emirates, in order to manage its challenges in healthcare and managing the operation, we will be going beyond and utilizing IT and software engineering for the sake of improving healthcare and have better quality of healthcare. This is, in a nutshell, as I said, my presentation. If you have any question, don't hesitate to ask, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Now, I see you have a discussion. Are you going to ask questions or discuss things?
Such a project is a huge initiative that will be across the country. There will be different players. We have like the federal healthcare, we have local authorities. Have you evaluated the governance of this project? Who will be like the main?
Exactly. Your question is in the right place, to be honest. What we are actually, as I said in the presentation, stakeholders are the key in this project. Therefore, we need to involve them in the project, and we actually started to do all the key players from the government and from the local government, from the federal government, from the private, whether physician or IT, to have a mechanism and stakeholders team. As well, just to mention that there was some cases, and UAE is not only the country that initiated this. And worldwide, there are 6 countries who actually attempted or tried to start for this project, and few who succeeded. One of them is Singapore, as they attempted this, and one of the that made them successful in this field is the user involvement. On the other hand, UK was one of the countries who actually attempted to have this project, and unfortunately it was a failure, and it was reported according to the research that I found, they didn't put the user involvement in their main project. So learning from these previous reports, we took this as a lesson learned from UAE, and we would like to implement it and have the right people to be involved, the key people, even the patient themselves. This is, I hope that I answered your question.
Another question about the ownership. Since we have different entities will be involved in this project, have you or have been selected who will own these data? The servers,
Exactly. Okay. One of the things, if you noticed in the presentation, there were multiple ways and methods to conduct this. The centralized database, which has the issues of ownership. That's why we didn't take it as an approach, and I didn't put it as a recommendation for the patent to be taken as an approach, because we will be facing the data ownership problem. Instead, we will be having it as a hybrid solution. Hybrid solution, that means that when we sit as a steering committee and the project management team, we will be selecting a specific data set to be shared and centralized, and the other will be managed decentralized. So the data ownership will be resolved by the hybrid solution. And there are certain data which is actually owned by the federal. So it's actually the current reported, but they don't report it in a they just reported manually, but there are specific data set which is known in legislation of UAE that it is owned by the federal entity, and the other data can be managed decentralized. Anytime.
Any more questions from the audience? Can you tell me the population that we're talking about?
About 9 million.
9 million. So twice the size of Singapore, but
Less than UK.
less than the UK.
Yes.
The UK was a disaster, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of money went in, and it just didn't scale. The solution they were planning looked good in a small scale, but it simply did not scale up.
Yes. There were many issues with it's not only about the population side, it's the way how they actually implemented. In UK, they had an issue with the contract management. They had many contracts, and they actually didn't have the user involvement according to the research that I had. So there are several lessons learned that we get from the UK experience, and we would like to benefit from that experience, not to be replicated here, and benefit of what Singapore did. Singapore did certain things that UK didn't, so we're trying to manage and learn from the different experiences that found in the field. There are actually 6 countries who attempted this, but Australia, one of them, like in Wales as well, but about all, the 2 have been highlighted as Singapore and UK. Singapore as a successful project, but it's only, till now, the stage is only covering the public sector, and they are working now on the private sector. But the UK was like a good example of a failed project, yes.
Thank you very much.
Anytime.